Hello everyone, welcome to Big Data Thoughts. Today we are going to look at Spark 3.0 enhancements. Some of the critical ones, there are many that have been done, but we'll look at some of the critical ones that are there. So let's get started.
The first enhancement that we are going to talk about is dynamic partition pruning. So what does that mean? Whenever we are doing joins, we are dealing with big data. So when we are doing joins, there is going to be data that is getting shuffled across the network. And this shuffle is going to hit our performance. So in my previous videos, I spoke about performance optimization and we looked at how shuffles are going to affect our performance. If there is too much of data shuffle, the performance is going to get hit and the job is going to take long. So what we need to do is we need to reduce the data that is getting shuffled across the network. So one way of doing that is partition pruning. What that means is we are going to filter or skip the data that we do not need. So we are going to shuffle minimum possible data across the network. Now in Spark 3.0, there is something called dynamic partition pruning that has been introduced. This is typically, this would be beneficial in scenarios where we have fact and dimensions, and let's say a fact table which is partitioned over multiple columns, but the dimension table is non-partitioned. Let's look at an example of how dynamic partition pruning will happen. So if there are two data sets, one which is a sales table, a fact table, and a date table which is a dimension table, we are trying to do a join on that. The query is to select star from the sales table based on a join on the date and the sales table. So ideally what will happen, for this join to happen, we need to do two scans, one on the date table, one on the sales table, and then there has to be a join. But the most efficient way to do this is to first do a filter on the date table. So what Spark will do is it will try to put a filter on the date table based on the date column. Then it will pick up the result that we get by doing that filter. So we are scanning first the dimension table because the dimension table is going to be smaller than the fact table. So we scan the dimension table, we do a filter on the date column. Whatever is the resultant data set, we pick that up and we inject that as a part of the scan operation on the sales table. So what is happening is we have already reduced the data by filtering. First of all, we scanned on the smaller table. Then the data got reduced by filtering and that was used as a scan on the sales table. So we are not scanning the whole of the sales table. We are scanning only the ones where the date column is matching. So this is done by Spark on its own from Spark 3.0 onwards because dynamic partition pruning has been introduced. So this is going to immensely help us in optimization. So this will help in star and schema kind of scenarios. So typically most of the peoples are trying to build a data mart or trying to do reporting on a big data solution and they are building star snowflake schemas. So it's not a typically denormalized data model. So how do we improvise on that? We can use this dynamic partition pruning and it will really help in terms of our performance on star and schema queries. The second is adaptive query execution. Now what does that mean? Spark has been doing a lot of optimization in each and every version. So initially we had rule based optimizers, then we had cost based optimizers. Now what is introduced is a adaptive query execution. This is very efficient because what it is doing is it is adjusting the entire query plan based on the runtime statistics, because earlier it was not based on runtime statistics, it was a ballpark based on cost, based on rules, so it was not that accurate. But now since this one is in runtime, it is much more accurate because you get the hang of how much data is there, what kind of operation we are doing, and it really helps in reducing the it optimizes the entire query. It reduces, so what primarily it does reduction in the number of reducers in the shuffle stage by decreasing the number of shuffle partitions. Since it is looking at the query at runtime, it can re-optimize the plan to reduce shuffle partitions. We spoke about shuffle partitions in the optimization video. If shuffle partitions are more, it hits the performance. So Spark is automatically reducing the shuffle partitions during the shuffle stage. And how it is doing it is it is reducing the number of reducers. Similarly, it optimizes the physical execution plan by converting, one of the example is converting the sort merge join into a broadcast hash join. So it figures out at runtime based on the data what kind of join is more suitable or optimized, and it goes back and changes the query plan. It can also handle data skews. Data skew you would come to know only when you are executing the query. If the data is not properly partitioned or the data is skewed because for some of the partition there is too much of data, for others it is too less. So that kind of a scenario it will come to know, and it can fix the query plan at runtime. One thing that I wanted to explain on this is why this kind of thing can be done by Spark is because whenever we do a Spark operation, there are a number of parallel processes that are there that Spark executes. So everything doesn't execute serially. It does a lot of pipelining, executing in parallel and all of that. But whenever there is a shuffle operation or there is a broadcast exchange, it breaks that pipeline because it cannot be parallel. The reason being, the output of one stage is fed into as input to another stage whenever we talk about a shuffle or a broadcast exchange. So these are the ones which break this pipeline where Spark can execute things in parallel. And these breaking points are ideally known as materialization points in any query stage. And they provide us an excellent opportunity to re-optimize. Because when Spark first creates a plan, there may be many things that are running in parallel, but the shuffle and broadcast are a materialization point or a way where Spark actually gets to re-optimize and re-examine the query. So that is what is utilized when adaptive query execution is done. So this is a very beautiful feature that has been introduced in Spark 3.0. It has to be enabled. Once we enable it, Spark takes care of building the runtime statistics and continuously re-optimizing the plan. So one note of caution, when we say Spark has introduced these features and it is going to optimize, we should not think that everything will be done by Spark. We still need to be very cautious as to how we write our queries, how we perform the joins, how we partition data, and then on top of that we can definitely use what Spark is providing. So it's a combination of both. It's our effort as well as Spark's effort. Okay, the next thing is SQL join hints. So in Spark 3.0, there have been join hints that have been added for all Spark join strategies. Earlier we had a hint for broadcast join. We could give a hint and we could set a limit as to after how much of data can we use, a threshold of data which can be looked at and a broadcast join can be performed. Now that join hint has been introduced for all of the Spark join strategies. We can tell Spark what kind of strategy to use. Another thing that has been done is for structured streaming. There is a separate tab that has been added for structured streaming alongside all the other tabs. So that will help because what it will show is aggregated information about all the streaming query jobs that are there and also a detailed statistics. So this will help us in visualizing what is happening or debugging our jobs. Now this was all about all the major changes that Spark has done. I hope this will help you further in terms of how you optimize your query. So thank you so much for watching the video. Thanks.